Carlsen here. I'd like to go through my wife's and my portfolio. This is as of February 14th, 2017, Valentine's Day. This is patterned after Daryl Kirkpatrick's table that he has at Can I Retire Now for his funds. It's a really great blog. I think he and White Coat Investor are the two most intelligent people out there as far as quantifying how to invest and how to work things out financially. So this comes from Can I Retire Now? Overall, the portfolio here I put is quite boring. We really haven't done anything over the last several years since 2013 other than add funds to our Vanguard target date funds and Vicky's 403B at the university that she works at. We haven't sold anything or taken anything out. Vicky continues to work. I married her in 2004 and moved to San Diego after selling my practice in Albuquerque. At that point, I'd saved enough that neither one of us really had to work in the future. Vicky actually decided she would want to work, and she continues to. She will retire from the university she's working at now in Denver in the next couple years. In any case, we're adding about $80,000 per year to both her 401B account at Metro State and our taxable account. So we're saving a lot, more than really we need. Well, let's look at our different accounts here. First of all, in tax-deferred, this is it. It's all in two accounts now. It's been consolidated. We consolidated a lot when we moved to Denver from San Diego and then continued to do that in 2013. So everything sits now in two accounts. Vicky's 403B that she's accumulated at Metro State over the last few years. Now this is the equivalent of a 401k. It's in TIAA, used to be TIAA CREF, and we can see that this account has really high expenses. That's one of the major problems that we've talked about for 401k plans. Expense ratios for a lot of them are ridiculously high. There's really nothing that's going on here with a target date 2025 fund. As you can see down here below, Vanguard has a similar fund and it's 0.15%. So there's bad press for 401ks and it's deserved in a lot of cases. Now at Metro State, Vicky had a choice of three funds from TIAA, from Fidelity, and from an insurance company. The other two were even more expensive. Anyway, this is what she has to contribute funds, so this is what we're using. The percent total of all of our funds, tax-deferred and taxable, is 15.2% with the TIAA funds and 21.7% with Vanguard. So that shows that we're about 37% of our total funds are in tax-deferred. That's low. Why? It actually has to do with back from the late 80s until 2005, I followed Greg Stanley's plan of actually paying taxes and then investing in muni bonds. That worked great for a long period of time. In 2005, I converted over into index funds primarily with Vanguard. Why Vanguard? Because they have the lowest fees. Okay, we've got two funds here, a 2025 fund and a 2030 fund. The 2025 is a little bit less aggressive than the 2030. 64-36 means 64% of the funds are in stocks, and in this case they're U.S. stocks like an S&P 500, and 36% in bonds, which is primarily an intermediate term treasury. Okay, Vanguard funds are a little bit different. The stocks are in both U.S. and international stocks. They have a little bit of international coverage and also a little bit of international bonds. Okay. The actual dates that are set on here really don't have to do necessarily with a retirement date. What happens with these funds is they start at this point at 64.36 on a 2025. As you approach that 2025 period, the funds will gradually get more conservative, have more bonds and less stocks. It's called a glide path. Same with the 2030s. You can see at this point it's a little bit more aggressive. Most target date funds or sometimes they're called life cycle funds, are very similar in how they work. They rebalance on their own, so you don't have to worry about that, and they gradually get more conservative over a period of time. There's absolutely nothing to do with them, no rebalancing. They just grow over a period of time. That's our tax deferred. Let's look at our taxable funds. I'm going to back up here for a second. Anything that is in orange print means that we probably won't need that. We've got more than enough money. These funds would be used probably after age 85 or 90 for Vicki and I. And that's my cat calling here. And he doesn't like it when I talk, so I can't seem to settle him down. That's Toby. So we'll just have to deal with that. These are funds in orange that we probably never will use and will go to the kids, so we're pretty aggressive with them as far as mix, 75% stocks, 25% bonds. Okay, let's go to taxable. These are after-tax funds. A lot of them are in Vanguard Target Date 2020 and 2025 funds. Again, these are mixes of stocks and bonds. They're funds of funds consisting of index funds, and again, it's total stock market fund from Vanguard, total bond market funds with some international exposure. Expense ratios are really low here. Returns, pretty good. Obviously, when you get into the funds that have more stocks and less bonds, you're going to get a higher return. Yes, they're more aggressive and they're more volatile. So most of it is in these funds. The green colored ones, these are leftover funds. Up until 2013, I was using lazy portfolios. Nothing wrong with lazy portfolios. They're really good. They're a mix of index funds, which can be stocks and bonds. And if you Google lazy portfolios, you'll find Paul Farrell's list of funds, of which there are 8. This is one of them. This is actually a Paul Merriman fund called Fund Advice. He's out of Seattle that I use, and it had 11 different funds. Did it work well? Yes. The problem is it's in a cash or an after-tax account, and any time I made any changes to any of the funds or rebalance them, there would be cash consequences for taxes. So in 2013, I thought, forget it. Let's just go with basic target date funds where they rebalance on their own. There are really very few taxes that have to be paid, and it's much simpler. But these work well. There were 11 funds. We've got 7 left. I'm gradually selling them off over the years. Usually I sell like 1 per year. But as we can see, we've got low levels, 1.2%, 1.3%, 2.4% of our total funds. And the fees are really, really low. Look at this total bond fund. This is intermediate term treasuries with Vanguard. So that really is it. Are there any individual stocks? No. Occasionally I'll play with one, but really I have no interest at this point. Why am I in target date funds? Because they do well, they're simple, and psychological reason behind having target date funds is the fact that they're so boring that there's really nothing you'll want to do with them. Active trading? No. And it's been shown over and over again that the more you trade actively, the less return you get. This has been researched by Dan Canahan at University of California over the years. Any trading that you do is going to normally long-term give you negative consequences. So these are just basically sitting here. Okay, my total return for 2016 was 6.63%. Overall stocks in all of our funds averaged 50%, 56% stocks and 44% bonds. That's fairly conservative going ahead. I don't see changing that much in the near future. The Dow was up 16.3% for 2016. I got a return of 6.63, but remember there are a lot of bonds in there. During the period of 2007 through 2009, the Dow dropped well over 50%, while my portfolio, which was really similar to now, dropped 20%. So the volatility of this portfolio is quite low. Okay, and I wrote down here the 2030 funds, which I had in orange, are about a quarter of the total is money we may never need, and because of that, I'm more aggressive in those funds. Taxable or cash funds comprise 63% of our portfolio. That's after-tax funds. Tax-deferred funds are only 36.9. And again, that's because for a long time I paid my taxes and then invested my money. This was when we were in a lower income tax environment. Now it probably doesn't make as much sense to do that. In any case, I don't have to worry a whole lot about required minimum distributions because 63% of our portfolio has already had those distributions paid out. The taxes have been paid. Thanks so much for watching.